bombs, rum coming everywhere. So prepare, say a prayer. Send the word to beware. We'll be over, we're coming over, and we won't come back till it's over, over there, over there, over there. Send the word over.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us here on the Veterans for Cannabis podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Littrell, and I'm extremely excited today to bring our guest, Dan Anglin. Dan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Josh. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Doing really well. Absolutely, brother. It's been such a pleasure just to get to know you over the last few months, and I think our audience members are really excited about hearing from you. We'll first and foremost, a little housekeeping. This is the first of a two-part podcast today, and potentially a third part as well. Dan may be our guest on the Georgia, what's happening in the Georgia climate on cannabis as well. But today, this is part one of Dan Anglin with Can America Brands. And Dan, tell us a little bit about your Marine Corps service. You're a Marine, and where are you out of today?
So I'm in northern Colorado, beautiful northern Colorado. And I served in the United States Marine Corps from 1988 to 1992. My MOS was 2111, small arms repair. I did a number of deployments. I did a Team Spirit in 1990, stationed in Japan, Okinawa, nice. Philippines, and Camp Pendleton, California, and did my training on an Army base in Aberdeen, Maryland, at the Aberdeen Proving Grounds.
Aberdeen Proving Grounds. Boy, you hear about those all the time, which is pretty crazy. So much happens up there, too. I can't even imagine what all you got to see.
Well, the Proving Grounds is a weird place. They do a lot of ordnance testing, and in fact, back in the day, in the 80s, when I was there were ducks that would glow at night in the pond, and
wow,
Maryland. That part of Maryland is primarily military focused. The Aberdeen Proving Grounds is a large employer of local civilians, and I had a good time. I think, though, the bulk of my time was spent in Camp Pendleton, and I am a Desert Shield, Desert Storm veteran. However, I didn't deploy. For those of you who remember, Desert Storm was primarily a reservist mobilization.
Right.
And so what I did was I was the range safety armor and primary marksmanship instructor for all the reservists. We were teaching them, how to deal with their firearms, small arms, with sand. Most of the training prior to that was forest and jungle.
Right.
Desert training is now, my understanding, just kind of par for the course. I think with the last 30 years or so of desert engagement, but at the time it was really relatively new, and I think we trained probably 3 different battalions of reservists that were coming through on just simply how to maintain their firearms and how to deal with their environmental issues, and refamiliarizing themselves with
right.
Active firearms training, and some combat training, and of course gassing. I think I was probably gassed 5 times a day for almost a month.
Oh my goodness.
Well, there was a lot of talk about Saddam Hussein's,
WNBs. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they were thinking mustard gas, and I have no idea, honestly, what I breathed in. I mean, every time we went through, it tasted different, and, it made us react different. But, I really think that the people who were called up appreciated, the School of Infantry providing them with that refamiliarization. Not that reservists aren't trained, but
Right.
these guys aren't active duty. They're not living it every day, and they're the first ones to go. At least they were for Desert Shield and Desert Storm. So they served an important role, and so did my unit.
I think we do things a little bit backwards in that stance, and it seems that that's the typical modus operandi, right? That your active duty stays home, where your guard is recalled, and then they deploy forward, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. If we are working every single day with our weapons, with our training, and we're working with our unit, why not deploy us active duty first, and then let the reservists backfill our position stateside? But you know what? You and I don't get paid the big bucks to make those big decisions, right?
No, I wore stripes and not bars, right? So
That's right.
so I just did what they told me to do. You're right, though. It didn't make sense. I think Afghanistan started with more guardsmen than reservists, which to me, I mean, that doesn't make any sense at all. I would think that a guardsman is more useful at home.
Right.
But hey, who are we to make these decisions?
That's right. Well, all right. So you were small arms, when you were in the Marine Corps. Are you still into small arms now? Do you still enjoy your weapons and
I
Second
do.
Amendment?
I do, but it's in such a different capacity than most, firearm hobbyists I know. I have tended to focus on a variety of uses for my firearms. So I've got friends, especially the guys that didn't serve, who are constantly buying new firearms because this is what floats their boat. And I look at a firearm as a tool.
Right.
And each one has a different purpose. So, I don't have that need for stockpiling, firearms or millions of rounds of ammunition simply because, each one I have is definitely going to hit its mark.
That's right.
So, for me, I just don't feel that need to stockpile. I didn't feel it under the Obama administration, and I'm glad because everything got more expensive. And
yeah, holy cow.
I didn't feel it, during the current administration and with the upcoming Democrat administration. I still don't feel it, right? So I'm more of a cynic than I am reactionary. So I'm a hobbyist. I like going. But I'd really prefer to, go with a group of other veterans. I think I'd feel safer. And I also think our purpose would be different, right?
That's fellowship and brotherhood at that point in time.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. So I got a really crazy question to ask you. What is one of the neatest or craziest or stupidest situations as a trainer bringing these new people in, getting them refamiliarized with their weapon systems? What's the craziest crap you saw happen in your time?
Well, when I had my short stint as a PMI, the people who'd never picked up a firearm in their life were my favorite people to train.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
They just did what you told them to do. When I was working with students at the School of Infantry, I didn't really have too many. I mean, you get the guy that, turns and his weapon turns with him past the firing line.
Absolutely.
But really, it was when we were with First Marines. The mortar range, which was a good 6 miles away from us, overshot and lit the mountains of Camp Pendleton on fire.
No way.
Oh, yeah. It's very dry out there. And there's a very nice nuclear installation that, is right on the other side of the freeway, San Onofre. And the instant fear through the entirety of Southern California, not just the Pendleton community, was that fire was going to reach that nuclear power plant.
Oh my gosh.
So honestly, that and one day the military police decided to set up a sting operation right there in 52 area where the School of Infantry is. And so they closed off the freeway and made all cars come through Camp Pendleton. And I think they found close to 2,000 illegal, you know, illegal immigrants in the trunks of cars. And
holy cow.
so we just kind of set up outside of the chow hall to watch this operation go on, and you would not believe how many cars just had trunks filled with people.
Wow.
And that was just one day, one afternoon. So, you know, that made us a little more alert for our fire watches, especially around the armory, of just how many people are traveling.
Right.
You know, Camp Pendleton is one of the largest military installations in the continental United States. I mean, it's something like 60,000 acres or something from north to south, and then I don't know. It's humongous, right?
It is.
And there's an awful lot of what appears to be barren land that's actually part of either a tank range, a missile range, a firing range, a mortar range, right? And, you know, I mean, the people that are in those cars, I mean, there's clearly other people who are walking through Camp Pendleton. So I'd say those were, you know, honestly, the two craziest things associated with the job.
That's pretty nuts, man. Holy cow. So you served in the Marine Corps, and then you get out. What do you do after that, Dan? What was your objective when you completed your enlistment? What was your plan after that?
That is a damn good question. So I quit high school and joined at the age of 17. You know, this was 1988. So that was still a thing. I don't think that's a thing anymore.
Right.
And you know, there were plenty of guys that I was in with who had been given a choice by a judge of you know, 6 months in jail or join the Marine Corps. So I knew some guys under that situation. So I was so young when I got out. I was 21 years old and had 4 years of active duty service behind me. I didn't know what I wanted to do. The Brady Bill had just passed. So my experience in the Marine Corps didn't equate to any type of civilian job. There was just you know, no one who was selling anything that had the appearance of being an automatic weapon or, you know, I mean, this conversation, it's funny, it just keeps circling, right? So I tried a number of gun shops. I tried a number of gunsmithing avenues, and there just wasn't enough business because the Brady Bill had just passed the year before. So I got a job as a security guard at a mall in Laguna Hills, and did a few other things, and ended up just basically smoking pot and surfing in the town of San Clemente. And one day got a wild hair up my ass and sold everything I had for a Kawasaki KZ-1000 and drove it to Alaska.
Wow.
When I got there, I got a job, you know, on the railroad there, the White Horse Line or whatever that is in Skagway. It's been a long time, man. And
we ask the tough questions here on the Veterans for Cannabis
podcast.
Yeah,
tough questions. Well, you know, you're talking to an old man, so past is a long time ago. But I ended up, as the summer came to a close, because I worked at the Red Onion Saloon. I worked at a number of different places in Alaska and made good money. And then I sold that bike for a one-way ticket to Hawaii with no plans. And,
holy cow.
You know, basically worked at a couple of different surf shops and hung out with girls on vacation at the bars in Lahaina, Maui, and finally just became so broke that I had to go back home to Michigan. And my family found me a job. I was a janitor at a local school, elementary school. And then I met my now 25 years of marriage wife, who we moved to Arizona, and she encouraged me to finish up my high school. So I got my GED, and then she encouraged me to go to school. So I went to the University of Arizona and graduated magna cum laude. And while I was in college. I started